Hi, everyone. Welcome to Awareness Wednesday. I'm Taylor Bunn, Executive Director of Hope for All. And today I am here with my good friend, Brandi Clay, who is going to tell us
Hi,
about,
everybody.
hello, she's going to tell us about her programs, the ED series and the Educational Dreamer. So Brandi, take it away.
So, hi everyone. My name is Brandi Clay, as Taylor mentioned. I am the owner of the ED series or the EdD series and the Educational Dreamer. The ED series is my company that is an education and consulting firm. I go out into the community and I really try to bridge the gap between where our students, our parents, and other stakeholders are with where education is. So, the EdD series is all about creating educational advancement for all of our students, especially our minority students, not only in my community, but across this country. And the Educational Dreamer is more of my nonprofit. So it's still focusing on making sure that we're bridging the gap, but it's giving the students the opportunities. So the EdD series focus more on making sure that they have the skills. The Educational Dreamer focus more on exploration. So now I've taught you about science, but I'm making sure that you now have the opportunity to visit the space station or to have the opportunity to go to a science museum. So both of them are very important in making sure that we're bridging the gap and giving students the opportunity to be successful in the classroom as well as outside of the classroom. So I guess our overall motto is to make sure that we're inspiring students, we're empowering students, and we're educating them. We're not only focusing on educational skills, but we're also focusing on soft skills as well. So we're making sure that students are going to be well-rounded. So me, who am I? I am an educator. I am currently focusing on my doctoral degree in organizational change, and I'm thinking about ways in which I can change the system that we know as education. What can we do to make sure that every child, despite any type of learning disability, physical disability, they feel comfortable in the classroom and they feel like they can succeed? So that is where the EdD series comes in. It's making sure that we are teaching educators and different stakeholders about cultural diversity, making sure that they understand what equity is and how we can have equity across the board. So the EdD series, we have a educational firm and we have a website, an educational blog where all stakeholders can constantly go and learn about educational opportunities, different techniques that can be used in the classroom as well as home, as well as upcoming events that we have within the community. So within the community, we have Ed Talk. Ed Talk sometimes is held quarterly, sometimes it's held every month, but it's based on what is the needs of my current community. What can I do to ensure that I'm sharing the skills and the knowledge that I have with stakeholders so that our students can be successful? So recently we had an HBCU fair where we exposed children to post-secondary educational opportunities with historically Black colleges and universities. So we had representatives from Xavier University, Grambling State University, Dillard University, Southern University, and that was our 4 HBCUs in the state of Louisiana. So we're really focusing on making sure that students are aware of all of the opportunities that are out there and teaching them how to be able to obtain the different skills as well as the different opportunities that are out there. And as I said before, the Educational Dreamer is that nonprofit that gives the students the opportunity to explore. So with Ed Talk, that community event that was tied into the EdD series, what we did was expose children to historically Black colleges in Louisiana, historically Black colleges and university in Louisiana. And now what I would like to do is I would like to take students on an HBCU college tour for them to be able to start in the north, at Grambling State University, and then be able to come down to New Orleans to be able to visit places like Dillard University and Xavier University. So both of them are going to be very important in making sure that we're able to bridge the gap and to create educational opportunities for all of our students, not those that may come from an educated family or stable or high socioeconomic background, but for all students, truly creating equity that we want to see in education. So the community that I live in is, like you said before, Lafayette, Louisiana. We do have a very diverse culture. We are definitely rich in cultural backgrounds where we've been called the melting pot just because we have people that come from all over. Our roots run so deep from different areas. But even with that, we have a large population that have a low socioeconomic status. So therefore, they are struggling in K through 12 classrooms. So being that we have such a vast majority of our population, our school district is failing, what can we do differently? What are the changes that we can make within our community to educate our stakeholders to ensure that all of our students are successful, not just 50%? So with different programs, I recently just launched a program called Got It. It stands for Graduate on Time with Individualized Teaching. And what we're doing is we're focusing on those students who are having trouble doing well on state standardized tests, who are having trouble in their core academic classes. How can we give you that individualized teaching? How can we spend that extra time in developing your academic skills to ensure that you are successful and you graduate on time? So right now I'm focusing on that transition zone. A transition zone in our area are the schools that are failing. So identifying why they are failing and what can we do to identify those students' academic barriers, maybe even emotional barriers, and how can we remove those so that the students can be successful in and out of the classroom. So that's actually how the idea of the ED series and the Educational Dreamer came about. What can I do to be able to push change? What can I do to create change? What can I do to ensure that my students within my community is able to progress from grade level to grade level and to be able to show some signs of mastery? So when I started thinking about what I do in my classroom, it's helpful to my students, but what about all the other students, not only within my community, but across this country, because we're seeing that this is an issue, especially with minority students graduating from high school and being able to master academic content. So that's how the idea of being able to start this website came about, because it was a platform where no matter where you are, you can access this information and you can try your best to implement it into your community or your classroom.
Thank you. So you've got your website pulled up. Take us through it.
Yes. So this is just the homepage. The website is the eddseries.com. And this is just the web page, the homepage of the web page. When you're actually on this homepage, it just explains what I just told you all about what we will promote. So we're promoting professional development so that we can be able to create teachers who understand how to create diversity within their classroom, regardless if that is going to be appreciating cultural diversity or diversity in tailoring their lesson plans to students' preferred learning styles, doing whatever is necessary to make sure that they're able to bridge those educational gaps from grade level to grade level. So we want to make sure that we're promoting the high school graduation rate. We want to make sure that we're helping students to get into college, regardless if that's a 2 or a 4-year college or university, and they actually have a plan of how they're going to be able to graduate and within a timely manner. So I definitely also discuss, which is very big for me, historically Black colleges and universities. They hold a soft place in my heart, or a special place in my heart, because at a time when African Americans did not have the opportunity in which to receive an education, these post-secondary institutions were created to ensure that African Americans would be able to receive higher degrees. So I definitely discuss that, just because there's a misconceptions about what HBCUs are. And at this point in time, we see that a lot of them are kind of disappearing because people are no longer attending because they don't see what the purpose is. And so I share through my webpage, Higher Attainment at HBCUs, why HBCUs are important, why they are very a part of history, not just African American history, but history period, what they have done for our communities. I spotlight different authors like Andrea Brew, who has written children's book about Southern University and Grambling University. I talk about how we are more than homecomings and halftime shows, which everybody knows us for during football season. I share different things about how they were originally created, why they are still important, how they are creating top doctors, lawyers, scientists. The institution that I graduated from, Dilley University, is actually graduating the most Black physicists in the world. Xavier University, who is down the street from us in New Orleans, Louisiana, is graduating the most African American doctors in this world. So it's in this country, actually. So it's very important that we read about HBCUs and what they are doing, how students can actually apply. With a small fee of $35, they can apply to up to 5 HBCUs, I believe, through the Common Black College app. Also providing students with a navigator, and I have done that as well. With the navigator or the HBCU directory, where students can actually have the opportunity to look at every single HBCU that we have throughout the 50 states. And they could be able to simply just click on a link and it takes you directly to the school where they can learn more about that particular school and what they have to offer you. And I think it's very important for our students, regardless if they choose to go to a predominantly white institution or HBCU, to have this access to be able to get to a school website and see what are their top majors, what are they offering students, how is that going to help them to prepare them for their professional career. So also on my website, I have the Dream in Action, which shows pictures from different community events that we have here in Lafayette. So you're able to see how the EdD series and the Educational Dreamer are very active within our community. How are we providing different skills to different stakeholders? This was just our HBCU college fair that we had, where we had representatives from the 4 HBCUs in the state of Louisiana, where we had also LOSPA come in the Department of Education, where they shared what would be helpful tips in creating a scholarship essay that would make the committee remember you and want to give you the scholarship money. We also, it shows pictures of how we were able to be granted $3,500 to be able to start the guided program to increase the high school graduation rate. How we talk about the importance of making sure that we're registering to vote and voting for the right people to be a part of our school board who are diverse and who can bring about different ideas of how we can service all students. So we have a lot of different events where we are really spreading the word of why education is important, why education is necessary in order to take our students from one level to the next, and how creating these different educational opportunities will in fact help our students to master each learning skill that is thrown their way. So the website is very friendly user. You just type in the eddseries.com and you'll be able to go through the different web pages that we have. We also have an Inspiring the Dream page, which I also love because it highlights teachers who are constantly working to create equity across the board, who are dedicated to their students, who are constantly working to ensure that diversity is present within their classroom, who are dedicated to their students' growth. So I think that this is needed because a lot of times, as we've seen currently with the hysteria that is going on right now in our community with coronavirus, that teachers have been taken for granted in what we do from day to day. So I think that it's very important to look at these different teachers because they are truly inspiring about how much time they actually dedicate to our students to ensure that our students are successful. So I think that this website is great in connecting, making sure that we're connecting community, teachers, students all on one platform. I think that so far we've been a year in existence. We actually just made a year old, so I'm very excited about that. And I hope that we have many more years where I have this platform to really share with everyone about the greatness within education and how we can constantly put our students in a place where they feel successful in the classroom, and that could be socially, emotionally, or academically.
Congratulations on a year. That's so exciting. What are you most
Yes.
proud of that you've accomplished in the last year?
So I've always, and this is actually where I try to post every month with knowledge is power. I'm constantly like, I have all of this information that's like in my mind, but how is it going to be helpful if I'm the only person that knows about these websites or this information? So I'm so excited that I have this platform where I can constantly share all of this and make it so accessible to all stakeholders with the click of a button. So I'm also very excited about the different ed talks that we have that I showed you through the Dream in Action, where we're constantly in the community. And yes, I'm putting it on, this platform where anybody can access it across the world, but it's also about the action within my community, making sure that my students have these skills. And I'm saying my students, but they're not just my kids that I teach. I'm saying that all students throughout all high schools, elementary, middle school throughout Lafayette Parish, they are my students because I take responsibility for how far they are going to go academically, socially, and emotionally. And I think that if we all pull together as responsible stakeholders and we all invest in our children, they will have a better chance of being successful and a successful adult and a good person with good character and good morals. And they would be able to then inspire the next generation.
So you brought up coronavirus, where we're all kind of in our own spaces doing our own thing right now. This has been hard for educators as everyone's figuring out what can we do. Big changes coming. So you have a lot of information on your website that I think students can go and look on and learn about colleges, and teachers can and parents can. So what are some things that you think students, parents, and teachers should be doing right now while we're all in this crazy time trying to stay productive, trying to look ahead and not lose this educational time?
So on my website, if you click on Knowledge is Power, we have a lot of different information depending on where your child is grade level wise. So like surfing the web for financial aid, this is going to be great for high school students because it's going to give you ways to find financial aid through scholarships, through filling out the FAFSA. It's going to give you different tips on how you should actually fill out a scholarship application. So even though you're at a point where we are supposed to be practicing social distance, that doesn't mean that you cannot fill out college applications. That does not mean that you cannot fill out scholarship applications. And if you are not at that point, where you have a high school student, I also have in December I posted something about winter break tips. So this is where you can keep your child productive. So right now I think that a great thing to do is write cards and letters to the nursing home. They are in a point where they are not able to receive any type of visitors. So if they're able to get anything from the outside world to let them know someone is thinking about you, praying for you, I think that that would be very helpful as well. On my Facebook page, I also put a lot of links up, and my Facebook page is The Educational Dreamer. I put a lot of links up that link parents to websites where you can practice different exercising techniques, yoga, breathing techniques to deal with anxiety, different websites that have games, but they incorporate building students' academic skills, websites that deal with how can you become crafty. And it doesn't necessarily mean that students need to be constantly writing down some type of math problem, but you taking the time to teaching them how to cook. that's math involved. You teaching them how to write a letter, because crazy enough, kids actually don't do that anymore. They don't know what memos are because we're in a technology age where we're constantly just kind of typing or texting. But simple things that you could be having conversations with students or your students to be able to determine what are their goals, what may be their fears, and how can you help them to deal with those things? How can you help them to push them along to make sure that they're successful? So my Facebook page shows a lot of those links. I've even saw a lot of TikTok videos that parents have been doing with their kids. And I think that's adorable, because even in this time where, yes, the students are not in school, that bonding time is also very important. Having the conversation with your child or children is also very important. And that's also a part of the soft skills aspect that a lot of time we forget about. So again, going back to developing soft skills and academic skills, that is what we need for students in order for them to be well-rounded, to develop that character and to be successful. And I also think it's important for students to have the time to play outside. Even if it's in, your own backyard, if it's you with a rope and, y'all jumping rope, throwing the ball, I think that's very, very important too, because kids don't always have the opportunity to be kids. And I think that this is a prime example of not necessarily spending 8 hours, playing outside, but giving them that time to really get that energy out and to be able to be a child in this day and age is very important.
Brandi, thanks so much. Is there anything you want to say?
Yeah, you guys, I'm just happy that we have this platform to be able to share the EdD series. Again, as I said before, once you actually visit the website, you can go to the website and be able to subscribe. So every time we add new information to the website, you are going to be aware of it. If you have a Facebook, please make sure that you like our Facebook page, The Educational Dreamer. So again, you'll be able to get these tips and these different links and stay up to date of education and the ever revolving door of education, to make sure that you're well aware of how to equip yourself and your students so that you can be successful. So the actual subscribe button is on the home page. And of course, I'm following my own website, but it would be right here, a big blue button that says subscribe, and you just press it and you put in your email address, and you will officially have become a dreamer and be a part of the dreamer community.
Thank you, Brandi. Everyone, thank you for joining us today. Stay safe, stay sane, do some college research, and check out everything that the ED series and the Educational Dreamer have to offer. Bye, Brandi.